Welcome back everyone to our Alaskan cruise series on board the Norwegian Encore. This sailing was the very last one of October, which makes it the very last sailing of the season. We were the last ship to come out of Alaska. My name is Josh and we like to travel around the world by air, land, and sea. And today we are getting back into Alaska. Our Alaskan series today continues with Skagway. It is October 26, 2023, so this is literally at the end of October. And with few options for excursions today, this is a prime reason why Alaskan sailings in October can be less than stellar. Norwegian Cruise Line is also the only cruise line currently to be sailing this late into the season. And while that may seem great because the ports won't be busy, again, it doesn't necessarily always translate to being all that great. So this is interesting. Here in Skagway, we used to be able to walk the whole way out to the end of the pier, but apparently now you have to take a little bus.
I don't mind it.
So we're gonna jump on this little shuttle bus, and it's totally complimentary. An exceptionally short bus ride out here to the end of the pier. And what's really crazy is that, like, I distinctly remember this last year because it was just like total chaos trying to do like all of the meeting up with like the different tour groups because there were also like a couple of different ships here besides just ours. So it's so strange to be here and it's like so tame and calm and a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, I think everybody who's lined up over here is for the train. So we're just going to try to walk right into town because that's what it looks like everybody else is doing. And there's actually a sign that says the Norwegian Cruise Line White Pass Scenic Railway. So go into town, see if anything's really open. So this is the restaurant that we ate at last time that we were here. And I think you can see up there on the doors it says closed. So I don't think we'll be grabbing a bite from in here. But they had a Buc-ee's magnet on one of their fridges behind the bar, which was kind of cool. So not eating here today.
It's so pretty. It's crazy.
And this is the train that everybody's going to be hopping on. That's for the big line that you guys saw today. This train is going to take people like way up into the mountains, but it's not going to go up into Canada. So it's basically just going to be going up and stopping. And I don't even think it really turns around. I think it's just going to come right back down the same way. And this is the train that everybody's like, you got to do it here in Skagway. It's like this iconic thing. The only problem is that if you do it through the cruise line, the cost is about $209 per person to really ride the train up into the mountains for about 2.5 hours and come back. To me, I just still can't get behind spending $200 a person to take this train basically up to nowhere and come back.
Hold on, let me just take a picture of you in the middle of the street because there's nobody here.
While we were here last year, we did want to go back into the shops to see if there were any discounts on merchandise since we were literally the last cruise here in Skagway. And another ship won't be showing up until 2024. And I always like to look for unique stickers that I can put on my carry-on suitcase. And while I did have one from last year, I still had to look to see if there was anything different that caught my eye. We also always like to pick up an ornament for our Christmas tree, regardless of how many times we've been there. Something that just kind of, again, represents the year and where we've been.
The train shop.
And we did end up purchasing a few things before heading back out to walk around town. If I'd have to guess that there was one thing that'd be open all year round, it's the liquor store.
Oh, the Red Onion Saloon's closed for the season.
Hello. Maybe we get one.
One white? Anything to drink? Yeah, let's grab a bottle of water. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we got our giant doughboy. It's basically fried dough with cinnamon sugar. I mean, you really just can't go wrong with this. but it's huge. Josh is like, are you gonna eat some? I said, how about we get one to share? Because I can't eat this myself. It's real good. And they're making them to order. So they're super fresh, like they're pouring the dough right there in front of you. But this is a cute little store. They got like a lot of like stuff made in Alaska, which I mean, you hope you would get that in most of the stores, but they had like salmon jerky and they had kelp, pickled kelp relish, like some very interesting things in there. But I like that little shop and I'm enjoying my doughboy.
Now last year when we were here in July, we didn't come here because, believe it or not, you wouldn't know it because there's one ship here and people are doing a couple of other things, but the line to get into this place was
down the street. Like
down the street. Like it's a super popular thing. Of course, they can make them pretty quickly because it's just fried dough. But, you know, we're here and there's not much going on.
It's really quiet today and it's like
eerily quiet.
It's kind of crazy, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's kind of that opportunity to try some things that maybe you didn't get to try last time. But again, I think, if anything, you always have to have the correct perspective, especially from today's video and the rest of our videos from this series, is that this is completely off season. And a lot of things that we're getting to do, you might not get to do or might not have the same experience because it's exceptionally busy if you go in July. But it's good. Now in 2022, when we were here in Skagway, this was mid-July, which means this was peak season, and planning for this cruise leading up to that, there were a lot of excursions to choose from dog sledding and glacier walking and whale watching and fishing, and basically everything and anything that you could think of was available to do here in Skagway. And the last time that we were here, we went ziplining with our friends Tim and Amanda and had a really great time. It was an option that just worked out, and I think it kind of pushed everybody's comfort level, which was really great. But for this sailing, we did not have that option because Skagway in its peak has about 2,800 people, and in the low season or the no season, there's only about 800 residents. So you have to really think about that. There's not going to be a lot to choose from when you do a sailing this late in the season. Now, while we didn't have a lot to choose from here in Skagway, I want today's video to really be a representation of what you should expect and the expectations that you need to have coming into a cruise like this so late in the season. And for many people, you might be saying, but Josh, they cruise in May as well, which is super early, and that's true. And you're gonna find almost that same thing where a lot of excursions, a lot of stuff, maybe the ports aren't as alive or awake. They haven't, you know, thawed out from the winter, being that it's just May and the season is getting started. So the prime season for Alaska cruises is really going to be late June and into mid-September, so keep that in mind. And at Skagway, we did have the option to actually take the train. It was sold out on the cruise line, but when we walked into town, there were still some tickets available, but we just didn't really feel like it was something that we still wanted to pay for because it was still pretty expensive to just go up the hill and turn around and come back down. So again, the lesson from today's video here in Skagway is, you know, if you're thinking about doing an Alaska cruise late in the season or early in the season, May, October, even early June, early October, late September, those are great options to get a lot of value out of the cruise itself. These cruises are going to be a lot colder than they would be in mid-July, especially if you're going out on the water to do whale watching or walk across the glaciers. It's going to be cold no matter what, but it's going to be significantly colder just because of the time of the year. And again, the trade-off here with having a cruise that is a lot cheaper, the trade-off is that you may not have as many excursions and things to choose from, especially if you're going to be booking this last minute. Alaska cruises, they really do need to be planned out at least a year in advance to really make sure that you are getting the excursions that you want to do, like sledding with dogs or walking on glaciers and riding in a helicopter. Those things go very, very quickly. So plan accordingly. And while Skagway is a great port in the prime season, it's definitely one that I think could most certainly be skipped during the winter time. So if you want to explore the ship, do some things on the ship, spend a day at the spa, doing something else, this is a great day to do it. Our next video from this series in Alaska on the Norwegian Encore is going to focus on Glacier Bay. It's the first time we've ever been there. It was super exciting. We had very little expectations set for this, but let us know what you think about cruising in Alaska in October.